Muhammad وعلى أزواج سيدنا محمد وعلى ذرية سيدنا محمد وسلم تسليما كثيرا. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر. استووا صفوفكم تراصوا. استووا صفوفكم تراصوا.
Yes, sir. Just hold the spot.
Let's try to straighten the ranks out as much as you can, inshallah. For those of you who are new converts to Islam, the Eid prayer does not have the regular takbirat like the normal salah. For the first rak'ah, there will be 7 takbirs. That is including the takbir to ihram, the first takbir. And then the second rak'ah will have 5 takbirs, including the takbir of coming up from sujood. So, Allahu Akbar. 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 Alhamdulillah الرحمن مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى
والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء أحوى سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى ونيسرك لليسرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنبها الأشقى الذي يصلى النار الكبرى ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. 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 الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. هل أتاك حديث الغاشية وجوه يومئذ خاشعة عاملة ناصبة تصلى نارا حامية تسقى من عين عانية ليس لهم طعام إلا من ضريع لا يسمن ولا يغني من جوع وجوه يومئذ ناعمة لسعيها راضية في جنة عالية لا تسمع فيها لاغية فيها عين جارية فيها سرر مرفوعة وأكواب موضوعة ونمارق مصفوفة وزرابي مبثوثة أفلا ينظرون إلى الإبل كيف خلقت وإلى السماء كيف رفعت وإلى الجبال كيف نصبت وإلى الأرض كيف نصبت فذكر إنما أنت مذكر لست عليهم بمسيطر إلا من تولى وكفر فيعذبه الله العذاب الأكبر إن إلينا إيابهم ثم إن علينا حسابهم. الله أكبر.
الله أكبر.
سمع الله لمن حمده.
ربنا لك الحمد. الله أكبر.
الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Yeah.
Eddie can cut there now?
No.
Huh?
No. We did the takbirs before the salat.
Okay.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله، وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. أما بعد، الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر، لا إله إلا الله، الله أكبر الله أكبر، ولله الحمد. Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us another opportunity through His immeasurable mercy to develop a greater appreciation for His religion in the month of Ramadan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, ayat that we have been hearing for the past month, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى بينات من الهدى والفرقان فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصم ومن كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر ولتكملوا العدة ولتكبروا الله على ما هداكم ولعلكم تشكرون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said the month of Ramadan, in which the Quran was revealed, Hudan lin-nas, guidance for mankind, and a clarification of the guidance, wal furqan, and a distinction, true distinction between truth and falsehood. So whoever from amongst you is present during this month, then let him fast. And whoever from amongst you is traveling or sick or on a journey, then let him make the days up after Ramadan from other days. Allah only wishes for you ease and does not wish for you difficulty, and so that you complete the term that has been allotted for you, and that you make the takbir on the day of the Eid, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ, so that perhaps you may be appreciative, so that perhaps you may be grateful and appreciative of the blessing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, walillahi alhamd. One of the most valuable lessons that we've learned in this month of Ramadan was the power of reclaiming our communities and all of the components that our communities consist of, both personally, individually, as well as communally. The first of these lessons, or the first component of reclaiming our communities, is learning how to reclaim our deen, because there cannot be any community if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not at the center of it. There can be no Islamic community if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not at the helm of that community. Many of us learned in the month of Ramadan to merge our lives with the religion of Islam until it became a lifestyle. Many of us have singled out Islam as a religion only to be practiced on certain days at certain times, and the rest of the time belongs to us. But during the month of Ramadan, we learned how to merge our personal lives with the month of Ramadan, with the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, until practicing Islam is no longer a religion, but is actually our life. This is how we live. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, commanding us to align our personal lives with His religion. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu udkhulu fi as-silmi kaffa wa la tattabi'u khutuwati ash-shaytan innahu lakum aduwwun mubin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, O you who believe, enter into Islam wholeheartedly, all the way. Align your entire life with the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala until it no longer becomes a religion, but it is actually a lifestyle. There was another order from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to merge our entire lives with this perfect system that we know as Islam. Many of us got up in the morning for suhoor, which pushed us to pray Salatul Fajr. Many of us stopped our daily routines to incorporate the components of Ramadan into our lives. Many of us stayed up at night to seize the serenity of the night, something that most of us didn't do prior to Ramadan. And with each and every passing day in the month of Ramadan, we were merging a little bit more and a little bit more of our personal lives with the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, until we have a more intimate experience with this religion. The Prophet ﷺ, in distributing the spoils of war to his companions, he gave some and then he didn't give to others. And one of his companions, he didn't give him anything. And the Sahaba went to the Prophet ﷺ and said, O Messenger of Allah, why didn't you give him something? You gave everybody else something, you didn't give him anything. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, وَكَلْتُهُ إِلَىٰ إِسْلَامِهِ, I didn't give him anything because I want him to rely on his religion. Don't rely on what I give. I want you to rely on your deen. Rely on your religion. When Aisha asked the Prophet ﷺ for a maid because her hands were hurting, helping her husband out in the garden, the Prophet ﷺ said, I'm not going to give you a maid, but what I will do is I'll teach you something. He said, when you go to bed at night, and when you wake up and when you go to bed at night, then you should say Subhanallah 33 times, Alhamdulillah 33 times, and La and Allahu Akbar 34 times. And that is better for you than a maid servant. Rely on your religion. Put reliance and trust in your religion. Many of us don't trust the process. So we leave Islam, or we get weak-hearted when it comes to Islam, and we become lackadaisical with Islam because we don't trust the process of Islam. We don't give Islam an opportunity to occupy the full extent of our lives. We don't align our entire lives with Islam. And then when we seem like it's not really working, right? We come into Islam, think of it like a person who has just a whole circle of dough. Islam is already cookie cut. You can't cookie cut Islam to fit your life. You have to fit your life into Islam. That's the way that it works. But many of us come in, we try to tweak Islam. I'm going to be a drug dealer. I'm going to be on Jumu'ah. I'm going to go to the Masjid on Jumu'ah. But on the other days, I'm going to do me. I'm going to go to the club on this day. I'm going to drink and party on this day. And I'm going to do me. And then when it's time to be Muslim, then I'm going to be Muslim. You're never going to last in Islam like that. Islam doesn't work like that. You have to cookie cut your life to fit into Islam. Islam is perfect. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent his last messenger, his last book, and he completed this religion, and there will be no more. That's it. Allah says in the Quran, الْيَوْمَ أَكْمَلْتُ لَكُمْ دِينَكُمْ وَأَتْمَمْتُ عَلَيْكُمْ نِعْمَتِي وَرَضِيتُ لَكُمُ الْإِسْلَامَ دِينًا. This day I have completed my favor upon you and perfected for you your religion, and I am pleased with you. I am pleased with Islam as your religion. And Imam Malik rahimahullah ta'ala said about this ayah, وَمَا لَمْ يَكُنْ دِينًا يَوْمَئِذٍ لَنْ يَكُنْ دِينًا. What was not a part of the religion on the day that that ayah was revealed will never be a part of our religion. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, walillahi alhamd. So many of us run into conflicts with Islam because we make a distinction between our personal lives and what is our religious life, perpetuating a gross imbalance in our lives that manifests in ways that make us look like hypocrites at times. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about the hypocrites, pay attention to this ayah, because it sounds like many of us at times. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, سيقول لك المخلفون من الأعراب شغلتنا أموالنا وأهلنا فاستغفر لنا سيقولون بأفواههم ما ليس في قلوبهم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and those who stayed behind, meaning the hypocrites who did not participate in the battle, when you ask them why they stayed behind, they will say as an excuse, شغلتنا أموالنا وأهلنا فاستغفر لنا, that we were preoccupied, we were busy with our wealth, with our businesses, and our children. Seek forgiveness for us. Right? You see someone, you say, Akhi, why haven't you been praying? I haven't seen you in the masjid. You know, I'm going through something right now. Make dua for me. Sound familiar? I'm going through something right now. As if what you are going through in your personal life has nothing to do with Islam. It has everything to do with Islam. But you made the disconnect between your personal life and your Islamic life. And as long as you see it like that, you're no different than a Christian who parties Monday through Saturday and goes to church on Sunday. You're no different. We are Muslim every day. Every time you open your eyes, every beat that your heart takes, your heart is pumping for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are Muslim every day. Not just on Jumu'ah, not just on the Eid. You are Muslim every day. And if Islam was their way of life, if they had merged their personal lives with Islam, then there would have been no need for them to use their business and their children as an excuse not to be along with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam entered into Al-Madinah, he noticed that the Ansar had 2 days of celebrations that they had. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked them, Ma hadani yawmani, what are these 2 days that you guys are celebrating? They said, these are the days, yani kunna fil jahiliyyah nal'ab fiha. They said these are the days that before Islam, we used to celebrate these days before Islam. And the Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ قَدْ أَبْدَلَهُمَا بِمَا هُوَ خَيْرٌ مِّنْهُمَا عِيدُ الْفِطْرِ وَعِيدُ الْأَضْحَى. He said that indeed Allah has changed your celebrations. Your personal celebrations have nothing to do with Islam. He said Allah has exchanged your personal celebrations for 2 celebrations in Islam, and that is Eid al-Adha and Eid al-Fitr. That's it. No birthdays, no anniversaries, no celebrations, no Mother's Day, no Father's Day. Islam, brothers and sisters, merge, align your lives with Islam. That's the only way that it's going to work. We're constantly trying to tweak Islam and to make it this American version, this progressive version of Islam. It's not going to work. Islam has already been completed. You, I, nobody else is going to be able to introduce anything into this religion that is better than the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed it. Shittum and abaytum. Like it who like it, don't like it who don't like it. This is Islam. And the only way that it's going to work for us is that we have to align our lives and merge our lives with Islam. He said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has replaced your celebrations from Jahiliyyah with two celebrations in Islam, and that is Eid al-Adha and Eid al-Fitr. That's it. The Prophet ﷺ was essentially teaching them to merge your lives. Even those areas of your life you think is your personal life, merge your life with Islam. Another thing that we reclaimed in Ramadan was respect for our journey. Respect for our journey in this religion, brothers and sisters in Islam. We're all having our own individual experiences with this religion, based upon who we are at this individual moment in our lives, shaped by the challenges and experience that we have had in our lives. Brothers and sisters, reclaim your journey to Islam and stop allowing the expectations of other people to dictate your practice of Islam. I am not you. I am not going to practice Islam the way that you do. My experience with Islam is totally different than your experience with Islam. Where I come from and where you come from are two totally different worlds apart. Sometimes polar opposites. You can't possibly expect that I am going to practice Islam with the same level of enthusiasm, the same level of vigor, the same level of faith as you do. I'm different than you. And we have to learn how to respect that. We see people and we become judgmental of them. Oh my gosh, look at her overgarment. Look at her colors. Look at this. Look at this brother. Look at his pants. Look at his beard. I'm having a different experience, brother. My experience with Islam is totally different than yours. We accepted Islam at two totally different times, from two totally different worlds, from two totally different perspectives. We are not going to look the same when we practice Islam. That is the beauty of our religion. Islam meets you where you are, no matter who you are, no matter where you are in life, and you start from where you are. I start off practicing my religion not where you are, but where I am. We have people convert to Islam. Oh, sister, you got to put this on. Oh, you got to do this. We start molding and shaping people into our version, our perfect version of them. I am not the perfect version of you. I am the perfect version of me, flaws and all. Understand? I am the perfect version of me, not of you, flaws and all. Reclaim your journey to Islam, brothers and sisters, and stop allowing people's expectations of you to dictate to you your practice of Islam. Ad-Din al-Nasiha. I'm not saying that if you see it wrong, you can't advise. We advise with wisdom. We advise with compassion. We advise with mercy. We advise with the intention that the person is going to listen to what we're saying. Not advise to say before Allah, I advised the brother, he didn't want to listen. Did you advise with compassion? Did you advise in secret? Just like you would want to be advised in secret. Or did you embarrass the person in public? Did you embarrass the person in front of everybody? Did you embarrass the person by showing a lack of compassion because your expectations of the person is the same that you hold for yourself? A man came to the Prophet ﷺ and asked him about Islam. So the Prophet ﷺ said to him, "Khamsu salawat fi kulli yawmin wa layla." Islam is to pray 5 prayers every night and day. So the man asked the Prophet ﷺ, "Wahal alayya ghayra dhalik?" Do I have to do anything else? The Prophet ﷺ said, "La illa an tatawwa." No, unless you want to voluntarily do anything else. The man said, "What else?" The Prophet ﷺ said, "Siyam shahru Ramadan," to fast in the month of Ramadan. The man asked the Prophet ﷺ, "Wahal alayya min ghayri?" Do I have to do anything else? The Prophet ﷺ said, "La illa an tatawwa." No, unless you voluntarily want to do more. The Prophet ﷺ then told him about zakat. And he asked, do I have to give any more than 2.5%? Do I have to give more? The Prophet ﷺ said no. And then the Prophet ﷺ, the man said, "O Messenger of Allah, I will do everything that you told me to do. 5 daily prayers, I won't do anything extra. Fast the month of Ramadan, I won't do anything extra. Pay my zakat once a year, I will only do that and nothing extra. The Prophet ﷺ said, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ إِنْ صَدَقَ. He will be successful if he is truthful. The Prophet ﷺ didn't give him anything else, met him exactly where he was. He said he didn't want to do anything else. But we are constantly pushing people to go beyond their capacity. And we break people. Many of us have been broken in our own homes only to come into Islam looking for salvation, to be broken again by people who have unrealistic expectations of us. I am not you. I am the perfect reality of me, not the perfect perception of you. Meaning your perception of me is your perception, not my reality. It's not my reality. The Prophet ﷺ did not give the man more than that. He met him where he was. In another hadith, a man came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, Ya Rasulullah, أرأيت إن صليت الصلوات المكتوبات وصمت رمضان وأحللت حلال وحرمت حرام ولم أزد على ذلك شيئا أدخل الجنة. Man came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, O Messenger of Allah, what if I only pray the 5 obligatory prayers, I only fast the month of Ramadan, and I consider what Allah made halal halal, and I consider what Allah made haram haram, and I don't do anything else other than that? أَأَدْخُلُ الْجَنَّةِ. Will I go to Jannah? The Prophet ﷺ said, Na'am, you will go to Jannah. He didn't say, oh, you got to pray your sunnah prayers after this, or you got to make obligatory voluntary fast on these days, or do this, or do that. He met the man where he was, realizing that this man is having his own experience with Islam, and it is not befitting and not appropriate for me to superimpose on somebody else my journey. I'm hoping that we understand that it's resonating with us. We are losing too many people who are coming in and out of Islam who are not having a healthy experience with this beautiful religion. Wallah al-Azim, as a convert to Islam, there's no decision that I have ever made in my life that is greater than me converting to Islam. And I'll be damned if I let anybody ruin or sully my experience with this religion. Not going to happen. I'm not going to let anybody do that. I've been through hell and back to finally find some peace and salvation, and I'm not going to let anybody destroy that. If you don't like what I'm saying, you can get in line with all of the other people who don't like what I say. Brothers and sisters, stop ruining other people's experience with this religion. There's nothing more beautiful than Islam. But we have to understand that the Prophet ﷺ gave his companions an opportunity to find their niche in this religion without superimposing on them. Here's a man who used to get up at night and pray until his feet would bleed. Here's a man who used to fast consecutively multiple days and prohibited his Sahaba from doing that. Stand up at night until his feet would bleed. And with all of that, he still never instructed his companions to do what he did. As a matter of fact, during Ramadan, he came out and he prayed Salatul Taraweeh with the Sahaba for 3 days. And then he never came back out again. The Sahaba were waiting in front of his home. Oh, Messenger of Allah, why didn't you come out? We were waiting for you. He said, because I didn't want you to think that Salatul Taraweeh was an obligation. You understand? I didn't want you to think that Salatul Taraweeh was an obligation. He didn't superimpose on his companions his journey, his experience with Islam. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, walillahi alhamd. The Prophet ﷺ had many companions that converted to Islam from other religions. And they had some arduous journeys. And these journeys were very challenging, only to find Islam. One of those companions was none other than Salman al-Farisi. His story, Wallah al-Azim, resembles the story of many of us sitting here right now and our journey to Islam. And when the Prophet ﷺ, when he finally met him, Salman told the Prophet ﷺ his entire story from beginning to end. And the Prophet ﷺ said to Salman when he finished, he said, Salman minna ahlul bayt. He says, Salman is my brother, part of my family. The Prophet ﷺ embraced him upon his embracing of Islam to make him feel validated, to make his journey feel like it was all worth it. Here's the Messenger of Allah saying that I am from his family. The Prophet ﷺ gave Salman his nickname, changed it from Salman al-Farisi, the Persian, to Salman al-Islam, Ibn al-Islam, the son of Islam. We are all sons and daughters of Islam, brothers and sisters. The Prophet ﷺ did this because he wanted to validate Salman's journey to Islam. Meanwhile, we're dismissing each other's journey to Islam. I don't care where you came from. Leave where your jahiliyyah, where you got it from. We dismiss completely to the point where here we are now in Islam and we're having an identity crisis because we don't even know who we are. Because we were told when we came into Islam, you are not allowed to be who you are. You have Muslims, African American Muslims, who don't even identify with being an African American. You have got to be kidding. I'm not African American, I'm Muslim. Well, Muslim, genius, is your religious ascription. African American or African American, however you describe yourself, is how you describe your citizenship. The two are totally different descriptions for two totally different reasons. And I was one of those people who used to say that, believing that saying that I'm an African American is somehow, I'm nationalistic. Meanwhile, a Pakistani can be a Pakistani. An Arab can be an Arab. You're from Morocco, you can be Moroccan. You're from Egypt, you can say I'm Muslim, I'm Egyptian. Right? You're from Nigeria, you can say I'm Nigerian, I'm from Nigeria. No matter what part of the world that you are from, you can claim your identity except African Americans. No, you're Muslim. La wallahi, I'm an African American Muslim. If that upsets you, if that makes you upset, then I'm sorry. Here again, my experience is not your experience. And as Malcolm X said, perhaps one day we'll meet on a different level, on the same level of understanding. Perhaps we're having two totally different experiences. Perhaps we're having two totally different experiences. I don't know what's wrong with this mic. Perhaps shaitan. We threw the mic out, so you brought it back to life. We killed the mic. He brought it back to life. Allahu Akbar. So I'm hoping, brothers and sisters, that we understand here. The Prophet ﷺ said, Salman minna ahlul bayt. Salman is my family. Ibn al-Islam, he is the son of Islam. The Prophet ﷺ wanted to validate his entire journey to Islam. Then the Prophet ﷺ said to Salman, go and tell the rest of my companions your story. He wanted the Sahaba to have a greater appreciation for their journey, meaning if this journey was not like yours, his was harder than yours, then you should be more appreciative of your own journey. To have more appreciation of your own journey to Islam and to have respect for other people's journeys to Islam. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Walillahi alhamd. I know you're tired. I'm almost done, inshallah ta'ala. We don't know if we're going to meet up at this place like this again. So I have to give you everything that I have at this point. I don't know if we're going to be here this time next year, wallahu a'lam. But I want to be able to be in my grave comfortably, knowing that I conveyed what I had the ability to convey in the manner that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructs us. I don't want that burden in my grave, that I was afraid to say this and afraid to say that, worrying about the politics in the Muslim community. I don't worry about politics. Reclaiming our journey and stop allowing people to dismiss where we came from. Another thing that we learned in Ramadan is to reclaim our deen, reclaiming our practice of Islam by not allowing people, places, and things to trigger our inner sinful self. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, إِنَّ النَّفْسَ لَأَمَّارَةٌ بِالسُّوءِ إِلَّا مَا رَحِمَ رَبِّي. That indeed the soul naturally inclines towards disobedience, except those whom Allah has mercy upon. We acquainted ourselves in Ramadan with many of our weaknesses. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَخُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ ضَعِيفًا, and indeed the human being was created weak. Fasting exposed a lot of our weaknesses. Our weaknesses such as impatience with ourselves or impatience with others. It exposed our lack of commitment. Some of us only fasted a few days and then stopped and then continued. Some of us have days to make up. Some of us lacked commitment. Some of us lack discipline. Some of us still continue to disobey Allah even while we were fasting. We have a plethora of weaknesses, and we became exposed to those weaknesses. And these weaknesses range from moral to spiritual and everything in between. And although while fasting, we were able to hone in on these weaknesses and avoid people and things that trigger our weaknesses. Yeah, we have people that trigger our weaknesses. And during Ramadan, alhamdulillah, scrolling through some of the social media sites, I've seen some people say, I turned off my Facebook for the whole month. I stopped following Instagram for the whole month. I stopped doing this and stopped doing that. You were able to discipline yourself. Allahu Akbar. You were able to turn off the things that trigger your disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we stopped calling people. People were worried and afraid we weren't calling them. We stopped calling because we were fasting. We stopped hanging out because we were praying. We shut down our Facebook pages and turned off the TV and monitored the things that came out of our mouths. Sometimes you have to make room for new beginnings and new people by distancing yourself from old behavior and old people. Sometimes you got to cut people loose. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala removing somebody from your circle is a blessing, not a curse. Nothing wrong with you, but everything wrong with them. Stop thinking that because somebody left you, or somebody didn't call you, or somebody divorced you, or somebody asked for a khula to get away from you, they were doing you a favor. They were doing you a favor. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just making room in your life for someone else, for something else. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Man taraka shay'in lillah, awwadahu Allahu khayran min." That whoever leaves something for the sake of Allah, Allah will replace it with what is better. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Walillahi alhamd. We have to learn how to select and choose wisely our companionship. Choose wisely the people that you keep in your circle. If you didn't call someone back, then consider that a blessing for you, because you never have to call them back. You can just leave it where it is. You don't owe anybody any excuses. We have this sense of entitlement on other people's lives. Why didn't you call me? I didn't know it was an obligation on me, brother. Why didn't you tell me you were going here and there? I didn't know that was a priority, man. Stop making things that are priorities for you priorities for me. It's okay to be a little selfish. We've given to everybody. When are you going to start choosing you? When are you going to start giving to yourself and to your immediate family, your children, your mother, your father? These are the people that are always there, but they're always the last ones to get from us, and we're constantly shelling out ourselves to everyone else. Allowing people to stick straws in us and drain us emotionally. And the people who deserve that, they always come last in line. Not fair, unacceptable. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala captured the companionship between Musa and his brother. There's no greater story of companionship in the Quran greater than the story of Musa and his brother Aaron, Harun. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he sent Musa to Fir'aun, Musa understood that I cannot go on this journey by myself. And we have to understand that our journey in Islam, sometimes we can't do it by ourselves. But if you're going to have a companion along this journey in Islam, then you need to choose wisely who is going to accompany you along this journey. Because some people are devils in disguises and will take you in the opposite direction. And by the time you look around 3, 4, 5, 7 years later, you're still a new shahada. Because you haven't grown. You haven't evolved. Because the person that you chose to accompany you took you in the opposite direction. And by the time you realize it, you were 7, 8, 10 years in the hole. Some of us are still working ourselves out of the hole. Been Muslim 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Just coming to the realization that I had to cut this person off because I'm not growing with this person in my circle. Musa, he turned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and he said, وَجَعَلْ لِي وَزِيرًا مِنْ أَهْلِي هَارُونَ أَخِي أُشْدُدْ بِهِ أَزْرِي وَأَشْرِكْهُ فِي أَمْرِي كَيْ نُسَبِّحَكَ كَثِيرًا وَنَذْكُرَكَ كَثِيرًا إِنَّكَ كُنْتَ بِنَا بَصِيرًا. He said, oh Allah, make for me a companion on my journey, a wazir, a governor, an assistant along my journey. Harun Akhi. Sometimes the people that you need in your circle are the ones right there in your face, and we keep jumping over them looking for some other type of companionship. For people who don't give a damn about you. They only care what you can do for them. They don't care about you. They care what you can do for them. And the moment you tell them no one time, that they show their true face. The moment you say, I can't do it, one time, they show you their true colors. He said, make for me a companion along my journey. Harun Akhi, Harun my brother. Ushdud bihi azri, strengthen me with him. That's what companionship does. Make me stronger with this person, with the people that you have around you, the people who you want to leave here today and go and be in their company. If they're not strengthening you, helping you to evolve into the better sense of you, a better state of you, then distance yourself from them. They are a liability, not an asset. Understand, we're talking business, understand liabilities and assets. He said, Ushdud bihi azri, strengthen me with him. Wa ashrikhu fi amri, and make him share in my task, because that's what companions do. We share in the task. Not when you see the sister without her hijab on, we say astaghfirullah. You see the sister at the corner, you and your friend in the car, you see the sister don't have on the hijab. Well, look in here, wow, mashallah, subhanallah, astaghfirullah, look at this sister, a'udhu billah. Instead of getting out the car, going and hugging the sister and telling the sister, I'm going to make dua for you. Facts, I'm going to make dua for you. I don't know what you're going through. I saw you before with your hijab on, now I see you with it off. I don't know what you're going through. But I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to make dua for you. No, we'd rather sit back and say, astaghfirullah, look at the person. Look at her, a'udhu billah, astaghfirullah. Instead of getting out, giving the person a hug and telling the person, I'm going to make dua for you. I don't know what you're going through. Seeing a brother, out of pocket, instead of making mockery of the brother, instead of joking with your friends about what the condition that the person is going through, to shake the brother's hand and say, listen, man, I don't know what you're going through, man, but whatever you're going through, I'm going to make dua for you, man. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, لا تظهروا شماتة لأخيك أو ليرحمه الله ويبتليك. Do not show happiness at the downfall of your brother. At least Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mercy upon him and tests you with what he's testing him with. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, walillahi alhamd. بارك الله لي ولكم في القرآن العظيم ونفعني وإياكم بما جاء فيه من الآيات والذكر الحكيم. أقول ما تسمعون أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المؤمنين من كل ذنب فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Brothers and sisters in Islam, my last piece of advice to you all, most importantly, is that during this month of Ramadan, we created agency for ourselves, both spiritually and monetarily. We understood the power of giving. We understood that giving has a return on investment dynamic, whether spiritually or whether physically. We understood that you cannot attain righteousness until you spend from what you love. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ وَمَا تُنْفِقُوا مِنْ شَيْءٍ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ بِهِ عَلِيمٌ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and you will never attain righteousness until you spend from what you love. When you give from what you love, there's a return on that investment, both spiritually and physically. We realize that what is ours is what we give, and what we hold, what we hoard, is for someone else. What you have right now, if you were to die, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us and and preserve us. But if you were to die right now, everything that you have will be given to someone else. The only thing that you do have is what you have already given. That is the power of giving. Many families cooked food and brought food to the masjid and fed the believers. Many hosted elaborate iftars at their homes, inviting the believers to a meal, which is actually a more intimate space where the brotherhood and sisterhood of Islam had an opportunity to manifest. And we have no idea the reward of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that is waiting for us. For those of you who families, you brought food to the masjid, you fed people, you have no idea the reward that is waiting for you Yawm al-Qiyamah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, فَلَا تَعْلَمُ نَفْسٌ مَا أُخْفِيَ لَهُم مِّن قُرَّةٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and no soul knows what is kept hidden for them as a reward for the deeds that they used to do. You can't imagine what is waiting for you Yawm al-Qiyamah. We pay zakat al-fitr, taking from our wealth and giving it to the masjid, giving it to those who are in need, so the masjid could distribute it to those who are in need. This is real economic power. Economic power is not building more money. Economic power is giving money to those who don't have. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, when he became the Khalifa, during his first khutbah, he said, الضعيف فيكم قوي عندي حتى أريح عليهم حقهم إن شاء الله وقوي فيكم ضعيف عندي حتى آخذ حق الزكاة منهم. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he said, changing the scales, he said, those whom you consider weak, meaning the poor, the indigent, those who don't have, are qawiyun indi, they're strong in my eyes. Weak in your eyes, strong in my eyes, especially when I give them their right of zakat. He said, and the strong, the wealthy, the affluent in your eyes are weak in my eyes, especially when I take the right of zakat from them and give it to their rightful owners. See, we sit back from a place of privilege. I have money, I'm balling, I got this car, I got this house, or whatever the case may be. But if you were spending like you are supposed to, you wouldn't be sitting from a place of privilege bragging, because you would be more concerned with other people having what you have than you having this exclusive place that nobody else has. We need to change our thinking. That is economic power. To empower other people is empowering yourself. Empowering other people, making other people strong is making yourself strong. But it's only a weak person who believes that's keeping other people weak and making themselves stronger. This is the mentality of someone who is insecure. This is a Fir'aun mentality, which is why Fir'aun began to slaughter all of the male children of Bani Israel, because he wanted to make sure that no one from Bani Israel would challenge his position. That is from a place of inferiority. That is from a place of weakness. It's weak when you see another brother and you can't compliment him. It's weak when you see another sister and you can't compliment her. That's a weakness. It's strength when you can say, MashaAllah, brother, you're handsome. MashaAllah, brother, you're married. I got a daughter for you. MashaAllah, brother, I like your throat. MashaAllah, brother, I'm proud of you in your practice of Islam. That takes strength. But to sit back and grit on a person, sit back and look at a person from a place of disdain, that is a weakness. That is an insecurity, and we have tons of it as African Americans, and we need to rid ourselves of that. True power is in giving, not hoarding. And if we didn't learn anything else from the month of Ramadan, we learned that. And we learned that our institutions, our Masjid, our institution, our Islamic institutions are for us, by us. Nobody is going to pour money into Sister Clara Muhammad. Nobody is going to pour money into Masjid Allah. Nobody is going to pour money into UMM. Nobody is going to pour money into any of the masajid here in the city except us. We don't get help from the government. We don't have rich, wealthy individuals from amongst us who's writing $150,000 checks. We don't have that. We have mediocre Muslims who are giving, pinching off what they have to try to maintain our facilities. Brothers and sisters, sponsor a masjid as a family. Sponsor a masjid. You have so many masjids here in the city. Choose one of your liking and sponsor that masjid. Meaning every time that I get paid, every time I get my income tax, every time I get a lump sum of money, a portion of that automatically goes to the masjid that I sponsor. Sponsor a masjid. And it doesn't always have to be with money. Sponsor a masjid. The masjid needs tissue, paper towels, water bottles, all of these other, amenities that we provide to the community. Go to Costco's, go to other places and buy in bulk and bring it to the masjid and drop it off. Sponsor a masjid. Make it your duty. Every month, I'm going to give something to the masjid. Every time I get paid, I'm going to give something to the masjid. And make it binding in your will that even after I'm gone, my children will carry on the same legacy of doing for the masjid. My grandmother died at 93 years old. My grandmother went to the same church for my entire life. Never known her to go anywhere else. All of her money, all of her charity, everything, all of her voluntary service went to that church. That's dedication, that's commitment, which we don't have. We take, we don't give. And you will see a change in your economic stability when you give. If you are in fear, then you need to check yourself. But if you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give it back to you, then give like you know Allah is going to give it back to you. Allah says in the Quran, مَنْ ذَا الَّذِي يُقْرِضُ اللَّهَ قَرْضًا حَسَنًا يُضَاعِفْهُ لَهُ أَضْعَافٍ كَثِيرًا. That who will give to Allah a goodly loan, and Allah will give it back to you and multiply it for you. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Walillahi alhamd. In ending, brothers and sisters, this is how we reclaim our communities. And these are the lessons that many others that we've learned in this month of Ramadan. My last piece of advice to all of us is do not become self-destructive with your deen. Do not build for yourself a house and then set it on fire. That's metaphorically. Meaning don't work hard and diligent for something and then turn around and destroy it with your own hands. That applies to your marriage. That applies to your children. That applies to your community. That applies to your job. That applies to so many different areas in your life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَلَا تَكُونُوا كَالَّتِي نَقَضَتْ غَزْلَهَا مِنْ بَعْدِ قُوَّةٍ أَنْكَاثًا. And do not be like the woman who spun her yarn and then after it became tight, unraveled it. Why? Why would you do that to yourself? Why would we stand up at night in the month of Ramadan, every night, Taraweeh? Why would we read the Quran in the month of Ramadan? Why would we sit and make dhikr? Why would we sit in lectures and build all of this faith only for the very next day after the Eid, throw it all away by returning back to the same person that we used to be before Ramadan? Stop being self-destructive with your deen. If you work hard for something, then appreciate that. Allah says in the Quran, لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. That if you are grateful, I'll give you more. If you show your gratitude, I will give you more. It is a sign of ingratitude for us to work diligently in the month of Ramadan, and as soon as the month is over, we return back to the same ungrateful individuals we were prior to Islam. Don't be like the woman who spun her yarn, and then after it became strong, she unraveled it. Don't build a house and then set it on fire. You went after the woman, you chased this woman, you married her only to turn around and divorce her. You chased this man. You went after this man. Many nights you had butterflies in your stomach. Many nights you talking, begging your wali to hurry up with the marriage process. And then after you marry, I want to khulab, brother. Why are you destroying the house that you built? You begged Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for children. Allah blessed you with children. And then you separated yourself from your spouse. Separating the children. Now they got to rotate from home to home. These are children that you asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for. Why build a house and then turn around and destroy it? Stop being self-destructive, brothers and sisters. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from us our fasting. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from us our dua. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from us our salat. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from us our zakat. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect our children. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect our communities. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect our Islam. Allahumma ahfadna bil iman wal Islam. Oh Allah, protect us with iman, with faith, and protect us with Islam. Because many of us would not know where we would be right now had it not been for Islam. Islam is our protection. Islam is our salvation. And we have to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala constantly to protect our Islam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect our families. Our babies are dying in these streets here in Philadelphia. Oh Allah, protect our children. Oh Allah, protect our institutions and allow us to develop institutions that are all inclusive of the needs of the community, both socially and spiritually, so we can get our children out of these streets. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you all. هذا وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد. Before we end and walk, brothers and sisters, I want you to take a look around and look at the beautiful faces that you see around you. More importantly, our elders, our older brothers and sisters, we love you. You are appreciated. Wallah al-Azim, we would not be here had it not been for you. After Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy. And don't think that because we don't honor you as much as we should that we've forgotten about you. You are our elders in the community. We love you. We respect you. We respect your journey no matter where it started and no matter where it ends. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve our elders and preserve our youth. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!